What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of 27 and Q alongside the two-time Super Bowl champ, former New York football giant, great number 27, the running back. There he is, Brandon Jacobs. I'm Rich Quinones. We appreciate everyone always keeping us locked in. We've got a ton to dive into, and I don't know, wake me, pinch me, throw water on my face. The Yanks won on Sunday. The Mets won. The Jets won. The Giants won. B, what the hell is going on in the state of affairs in New York with sports? Everyone got a W on Sunday.
Hey, I mean, I guess it's a good thing, if everybody over there could get some wins because people are happier.
Yeah.
People are happier. They speak, the teams are winning. It's something to smile about. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on, especially with the Jets being 2-0. It's big time. So Jets and Giants both are 2-0. I don't think the Giants been 2-0 since 2016, I want to say.
Giants 2-0. Jets got their first win against Cleveland. They had to come back on that win. So they lost opening weekend. So they avoided 0-2 over the weekend with the big win against the Browns. They were down in that game. I want to get your thoughts on that. We got to stick with the Giants, though, for a second. New York Giants, look, you called it. You thought they were going to win decisively against Carolina. You thought they were going to get the ground game going. You mentioned to watch out for the defense. We kind of highlighted how they haven't had their two best players yet. They got by Gano, special teams that wins games. Saquon got started late, finished what I think about 75 or so. And then Daniel Jones did enough. I want to get your thoughts first on Daniel Jones, because I look around the NFL and tell me if I'm off base here. A lot of young quarterbacks, different offenses, different coordinators, but they're allowing the quarterbacks to let it rip and throw it down the field. I thought Sunday was kind of one of those, we still don't trust you. What did you take away from that?
Well, that's exactly what I took away from it. I'm sitting there, man, I was bored to death watching the game. Took no shots. Everything was 5, 6, 10 yards. Short passes, just trying to, I guess, burn the clock and move the ball, kind of using it as kind of like a run. So they still got a big tab on him on as far as what he can do. I mean, he was 22 for 34 with 176 yards. He didn't turn the football over. I mean, he did enough to contribute to a win. Can he get away every week with those type of numbers? I don't think so. But coming up with Saquon, he had, I think, 21 rushes for 72 yards. I think they were 3.4 yards a carry or something like that, which is not incredibly, it's not bad, but you're gonna have to do more than that offensively if you want to be able to compete, especially with the way the Philadelphia Eagles looked last night.
Eagles looked impressive in that 24-7 win over Minnesota. We'll get to Hurts and A.J. Brown in a couple moments. But going back to that offense with the Giants, Dable's kind of, I guess it's one of these, we're going to get guys in, who's hot, rotation. And, for running backs, right, you want to get in early and often, right? You want to get cranking, okay? I mean, I know it's a little different when you played and with Ahmad and then Derek. You utilize guys differently, but you feed the hot hand, so to speak. The wide receivers, it's almost like a wide receiver or receiving core, I should say, by committee, right? I mean, you got a lot of money in Kenny Golladay, not a ton of snaps. You got, a high draft pick invested in the Joker and Tony here and there on the field. And I'm just wondering, Dable, basically, they came out and said, look, for some of these guys, we can't fit them into the offense, so to speak. But is this a classic example of, man, I don't give a damn how much you're making, where you were drafted. If we don't see it in practice, we're not going to see it on Sunday with you.
Absolutely. And I don't know exactly what's going on with Kenny Galladay's situation, but I know we gave him $80+ million, and I know we need to see him on the football field one of these weeks. I'm not sure what's going on inside.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, if it's something that was detrimental to the team. I have no idea what's happening, but we haven't been seeing him. We just don't know what's up, and I don't know if the coach is seeing something different than what the original management seeing in him. But he has the Giants by the balls, and at the end of the day, they got to pay him, and even if they don't play him, so. I think this will be his last year guaranteed of a contract. I'm not 100% sure, is either this year or next year, where they can just kind of let him go then. But we don't know what's going on with Galladay, and I would like to try to find out or figure out something and see, what's happening and why we're not seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's very curious. And remember, that was a Gettleman signing. So we're tied to you right now because of the new regime. Week 2 kicked off, and tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about your favorite week, Dallas week, with the Cowboys coming in on Monday night. I know there's going to be a whiteout and whatnot with the crowd and the jerseys and everything. So that'll be great. Giants looking to go to 3-0. Kansas City takes care of the Chargers. We saw Herbert get hurt, banged up. We just talked a little bit about the Jets getting the win. So the Jets are down in this one, right? Flacco, Joe Cool throws them back in there. It's a wild game. They're down 30-17 with under 2 to go. He finishes with 307, 4 touchdowns. This is your classic friggin' Monday morning quarterback, in which I can't take, right? And you can appreciate this, not only for fantasy, but you lived it through the Super Bowl, the second one. Everyone's screaming, Nick Chubb should have went down. He should have went down. Well, hold on a second. No one knows the very next play or the very next series, it's going to be a broken play, and Flacco is going to be able to hit the receiver on a busted play, no coverage for 60-something odd yards. And oh, by the way, the Jets are going to turn around and get an onside kick. When you hear there's classic Monday morning quarterbacking, right? You're a running back, man. You're prone to get in the end zone. that's
what
how
we
you're
do.
built.
That's what we do. We get in the end zone and we don't look back, like Ahmad in the Super Bowl. He wasn't supposed to score, but it was just, he had momentum going forward. And he was like, man, I got to get in. The man has a Super Bowl touchdown.
Yeah.
That's big. I played in 2 of them and don't have one. So if I'm him, I would have scored as well. So that's just the way that's the way we're programmed, man. We got to get in there. We got to get in the zone.
Yeah, no doubt. Detroit gets a win all over Washington, high scoring affair, 36-27. Tampa Bay and your Saints. Listen, Winston banged up, kind of comes back down to earth, but Tampa Bay is a little alarming to me, man. 20 points, defense playing well, offense kind of slow. Evans and Lattimore got into it, right, with the suspensions and whatnot. I mean, everyone's talking about some of the best teams in the NFC. I know we're only 2 weeks in, and I know it's an overreaction, but I look at Tampa Bay right now. They're not world beaters after 2 weeks.
Yeah. I wasn't impressed by Tampa Bay either of these weeks we just had here. I don't know really what it is, but I mean, I don't see them jumping out, making the case for themselves like Philly's doing right now. And I just can't. I can't get over the game that they put together last night. But I don't see Tampa Bay being one of the teams in the NFC, competing, for the Super Bowl. Maybe they win a division, maybe, but I don't see them going deep in the playoffs.
Steelers get by New England 17-14. They're already screaming for Pickett over there with Pittsburgh. Jacksonville, a franchise I know you're not high on, they waxed the Colts 24-0. Doug's doing a good job with Trevor Lawrence, but I know you and I have kind of had this conversation off the air. You still look at the Jags as kind of like that bottom feeder franchise in the NFL?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they are definitely the shrimp of the water. Bottom feeders, get what's left type thing. I don't know, man. I just think, for a team to be the number one draft, to get a number 1 draft pick 2 years in a row, it says a lot, and I think this would be a third one. They put together a good game against the Indianapolis Colts team, who just quite frankly isn't playing that well on defense. They're not playing that well on defense, and and they're not offensively. Matt Ryan he struggled to get going, and so I mean I don't want to take the win from him, but congratulations to Jacksonville, but that's going to be one of very few. You
just don't like the business operations, the cultural.
No, I just don't like. I just don't see any goodness. That's one franchise who just haven't done anything. Much. They're always consistently on the losing side. Every year they're consistently on the losing side and within the top 6 draft picks every year. So I mean, it's not far-fetched for me to say that they'll be the same place this year.
You called this one outright. You love Tua. You've been on the Tua bandwagon. Miami puts up 42 against the Ravens. Lamar had a big game, but Tua 36-50, 469, 6 touchdowns. So if we're going to start talking about all these other quarterbacks and these young quarterbacks, you said the arm strength was there. the football IQ, the toughness. I mean, how do you not kind of look at Miami and say, all right, they're on to something right now?
Well, I mean, they're playing incredible on defense. I think they're playing now. It's hard to hold Lamar Jackson, to any type of yardage that you can come up and say, well, we're going to hold him to this, because you can't do that.
Right.
Offensively, they are lights out. They're wide open offense. Tua's running around back there trying to make things happen, and which he is making things happen. I think he had 2 wide receivers with 170 plus yards this year, with both 2 touchdowns apiece. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, you can't get any better than that. And just as I was talking to someone, and they said that I think it was you said Tua arm isn't strong enough to even reach to where Tyreek Hill can go.
That's what they were posting on social media. Yeah, they were posting on social media.
So he comes out of there this week and just, hits him in stride.
Yep.
I think the Miami Dolphins is the team to look out for. I don't think they win a division. Could an opportunity to take second, because Buffalo they're just on another level.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills last night, Josh Allen over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. You talked about this 2 weeks ago, stopping Derrick Henry. That's the key. I think at 13 rushes for 25 yards. I mean, geez, we're going to get into some of those struggling teams. 49ers get past Seattle, the Rams over Atlanta. All right, Dallas gets to win over Cincinnati. That's another team that is kind of struggling, Cincinnati. We'll get into Dallas a little more tomorrow. But then Denver over the Texans. Like, what's going on with that offense and Russell Wilson? I just
with Russell Wilson, I don't really know. I think on the season so far, he's at around 559 yards passing, which is not terribly bad. It's only week 2. I don't know. He is struggling. They all look like they're struggling offensively to get going.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think out of in 2 weeks, I think that's pretty decent.
Yeah, they got to get in the end zone, man. Right? They got to get
in the end zone. They turned the ball over.
Yeah.
It's the second week in a row where they've gotten things going, and either a dumb foolish penalty was a drive kill, or like the week before they had 2 turnovers in the red zone, which you can't do, where they're going in to score touchdowns and end up losing by 1 or 2 points. It's difficult to win games in the NFL when you're helping your opponent by committing dumb penalties and turning the football over.
Which
that's something Coach Crawford used to harp on that every day. Don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. Don't commit dumb penalties. Give yourself a chance to win. And that's what the Denver Broncos had not been doing, even though they pulled it out yesterday. But that means giving themselves a chance to win.
It's a great point, because it segues into Arizona and the Raiders. Man, you talk about not turning the ball over. Renfro with not 1 but 2 in overtime. And then the defense, just let Murray dance around for 20-something odd seconds, and the kid makes these. See, that's you can't teach that, right? You're dancing around like, I think they wrote this kid off too soon. I still don't know what the hell's going on down there. I'm not too high on the coach, but that's a crazy game that they had no business winning.
They won it just because of a quarterback, a mobile quarterback who can buy time without having to cross the line of scrimmage and can keep all his pass plays alive. It's a pain in the ass on the defense, and the defensive and DBs have to cover a wide receiver running all the way around during a scramble drill, and you got this quarterback going one way, wide receiver turn around and follow him that way, and it's a whole lot for a DB to be able to cover a wide receiver that long. Apparently, at some point he's going to get open. Yeah,
you're right. Green Bay, you called it as well. You thought Aaron Rodgers was going to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, their offense kind of stinks. Green Bay gets to win. And then we capped off last night with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, man.
AJ Brown, the guy's bananas. The Eagles look unbeatable right now. I just hope that's not the case in a couple of weeks. I hope something happens over there where, they lose a little bit momentum or something. But they look absolutely phenomenal right now. But I want to go back to Green Bay, Rich.
Yeah, please.
The real key to Green Bay's success offensively last week was Aaron Jones. He rushed the ball. He had 15 rushes for 132 yards. I mean, when you're running the football good in the National Football League, your team is going to have an opportunity to win. They're going to be there. They're going to have an opportunity to win every single time. Now, let's go to Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't too bad. He was 19 for 25 with 234 with 2 touchdowns, no interception. So, I mean, just don't turn it over. If you want to be mediocre as far as your production is, as far as, completion percentage and yardage, don't turn the ball over. Do not do that. Keep these numbers over there, but do not turn the ball over. And that's what he didn't do Sunday.
To your point, I think they relied more on the ground game coup because he still doesn't have the utmost confidence in those young wide receivers, right? So what are you going to do? That bails out any offense, and it bails out the quarterback. It helps.
Absolutely.
And you're right. He was a beast the other day. Really ran the ball very well. We'll dive into week 3 with some of your best bets tomorrow as we get cranking. So as we kind of go through the opening drive in the NFL, I'm not even going to talk to you about what transpired between Auburn and Penn State. I might sprinkle that in at the 27 seconds with number 27. I mean, my goodness, what the hell? You're cocky, confident, they're getting the W, and then your boys got waxed.
They got waxed, and I was there to see it. I had my two blue chip recruits that they're recruiting was there to see it, and the atmosphere was phenomenal. Yeah. The atmosphere was, you probably won't find a better place where you can go and sit and enjoy a football game.
Yeah.
But Penn State was just bigger, stronger. They just dominated the line of scrimmage. We had some issues offensively. They ended up benching TJ.
Yep.
So I'm just waiting to see what this week have, to just see what's going on like this week. But yeah, it was a terrible showing for my Tigers.
Yeah, and you mentioned you can't turn the ball over. They did. They got Missouri. I believe they play Missouri this weekend. So Missouri's 2-1. So see if you can get back to 500. All right, talking about getting dismantled. I mean, can we get into a little sweet science right now? Can we get
absolutely,
going?
Absolutely.
Always. Where's the 20? There he goes. That's my guy right there. All right. So, what the freak did I pay for, man? Like, that was a glorified sparring match, GGG and Canelo. This is what I'm saying. People are shocked, right? They're shocked that the fight, it played out like that. I wasn't. I just thought from the early rounds, Canelo was more aggressive. I know GGG kind of banked a couple of those late rounds, right? You look at the scoring, 115, 113, 116, 112, I thought was kind of apropos. But, man, GGG looked old overnight. And I'm not saying Canelo looked at his best, but you just get old overnight, and I think that's what we saw over the weekend.
Well, I'll put it like this. I did not see the same Triple G that I saw last year. The Triple G I saw last year was he was more aggressive. He was active hands, going forward. It just seemed like he did anything in his power not to get caught by a hard shot by Canelo. I think he was more playing a defensive tip the whole fight. He just didn't want to get stopped. He just didn't want to make you right. He didn't want to make you right, which I could appreciate him for that.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate him for that. If he tuned in, that's wonderful. It was getting behind the jab, never was able to get the right hand going, right? And that's the key. That's kind of his bread and butter. And then he banked a couple of those late rounds. And again, Canelo did not look like a world beater either. But I think we saw the age, just like with Pacquiao. We've seen it with all these fighters. I mean, look, that fight the other night, it really reminded me of Duran Leonard 3, right? It was just one of those. It was just an ugly fight to watch, man. I mean,
it had to happen type fight. Like, just get it out the way type fight. Like, just get these 12 rounds out of the way. Either one of you guys isn't looking impressive. You're just in here. Let's hurry up and get it over with so we can move on type fight. And that's what that fight was on Saturday night. I just didn't think that I didn't feel like Triple G was going to get knocked out as I put the stake on the line, versus you with that. But just by him being so non-aggressive and just seeming to be so defensive, did not want to just take any chances. It just made the fight boring, and it just wasn't a whole lot of sweet signs going on either. It was a bunch of jabs hitting gloves and punches hitting the elbows and stuff of that nature. But like I said, Canelo pulled it out just like I thought he would in the decision.
Yeah, you go back late in that fight, right? Golovkin starts to wake up with the right hand, trying to set him up with the jab and some uppercuts. I would think it was a little too late. But if Canelo doesn't get that 12-round split decision, what was it? Split decision draw, I think it was 2017. If GGG wins that, the complexion of that division, it's so much different, right? So it leads me into this. You've got Alvarez, he's 32 years of old. He owns all four at 168, right? So in your fantasy matchup world, what would be the most logical fight for Canelo going forward?
David Benavidez. David Benavidez would be a great fight for Canelo, but he'll never fight it. He's afraid of him. He's afraid of him, and I'm a Canelo fan. I mean, you talking about the redheaded Mexican, baby. I'm a big time fan, you know. But he will never fight David Benavidez. I don't know why not. He will never fight, you know, Charlo. He won't, you know. It's just I don't know what it is. It seems like he's picking around those guys for whatever reason. But Benavidez is a dangerous fighter. We all know. So is Charlo. So there's guys out there for Canelo to bump heads with. I'm not sure who he's looking at now to fight, but he definitely need to fight one, you know, like one of those two to get the type of respect that he really deserves.
Yeah, Benavidez is what, 26-0, Mexican American, Canelo Mexican. So he said, you know, everyone was kind of reading into his comments and what he said. I mean, he's kind of cleared out the division when you think about it. Plan and who else? Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, so it's like fish or cut bait, right? You're either going to move up or you're going to come back down. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at it. You know, Charlo, Andrade, 31-0, Southpaw, 19 knockouts.
Never will fight Andrade either. Never will fight him. That's three guys that Canelo will not face: David Benavidez, Charlo, and
Andrade.
Those are three guys that he will stay far away from.
So, do you think he can have a rematch against Dimitri Bivol? Even though he's got to wait, obviously, because he lost to him in May, but I know he's dealing with the wrist injury. I know he hurt against Caleb Plant. If, let's just say, argument's sake, if he's out for 6 to 12 months, then that should give him plenty of time to recoup and rest. And then by that time, it could be there for him against Dimitri again. I don't know. I'm just throwing out another name.
I don't know. I mean, Bivol, I just don't know. He dominated Canelo in the last fight. He absolutely dominated him. It wasn't close. I don't think that fight is logical for either one of the fighters. You know, I think in between 160 and 68, Canelo needs to go ahead and get the rest of that stuff cleaned up before he can do anything else. Before he can be he's great. The guy went from 147 all the way up to 68, winning belts. I mean, I got to give him credit. There were credits due, but there's still fights out there that he needs to solidify his place in boxing.
But you would think, and I was reading earlier, I don't know, it might have been Charlo. So remember a couple of years ago, so I guess there was this idea, 2-fight $100 million deal. Actually, yes, he turned it down. He turned it down, Canelo, to fight Bivol, and then GGG, and then De La Hoya kind of came back and said, well, we offered Charlo some type of deal, but Charlo turned it down. I mean, I don't think he wants Charlo's smoke, and I personally don't think he wants Benavidez's smoke, because I think Benavidez, to me, would have the best puncher's chance. I'm not saying he can break him down, but he moves around a lot. He at times can be a high pressure fighter. You know, you need to back up Canelo a little bit, right? Because Canelo's got that Mexican blood. What does he want to do? He wants to keep coming forward. Yes. So get on the stick and just get that jab going, a little more pressure, a little more head movement. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. Eventually, you got to make one of these fights happen, I think, right? To kind of cement the legacy. I mean, he's an all-time great, but you know where I'm going with this.
Absolutely. He, you know, I think in 20 years, you would be arguing for Canelo like you're arguing for like Larry Holmes and all of those old saying how great.
There's the veiled shot again, right? Yeah. I mean, come on, man.
There's guys out there that he didn't fight, you know. But I think one of those three fights kind of put him where he needs to be. Not to take any greatness away from him. The guy earned everything he's gotten. Proved not to be afraid of some of the bigger fighters, but right now he's in the thick of the real competition at a really heavy weight class for him.
Yeah.
So guys got him, height, reach. Some have more power, some have speed. So he got to really pick carefully, and whatever he picks, depending on what he gets paid for, might need to be his last go around.
And it's interesting too, because I think if you stick him out there with a fighter that's a pressure fighter that starts off fast, like that's what he did the other night. He started off fast against GGG, right? Let me bank some of these rounds because this guy knows all the tricks of the trade, and he's probably going to have a run of them. And then eventually he did. If you want to argue, he won the last 4 out of 5, whatever. But now you're going in there with someone that's constantly going forward. I'm taking you into deep waters. I'm driving you through that bad neighborhood. I'm making you feel uncomfortable. And you're right. I mean, Dimitri was kind of able to do that. So, and as far as GGG, look, I mean, you're good to go, man. You want to retire. Like,
Yeah.
What more do you have to prove?
I mean, I saw something. Somebody put up something. He was supposed to trying to get a fight with I think maybe Caleb Plant. I think I saw, I'm not sure, but I think he should retire. He's done a lot. He's gotten a lot of respect from a lot of boxing fans and trainers and managers all over the world. So I think he's done enough to be able to sit down and enjoy himself and the finances he's made, and just a chance to sit down and just reflect on his career and how great it was. I mean, that's what I think he should do. He didn't look great in the fight. He looked old. He barely threw any punches. He just seemed to be just afraid to be in there, but he just did it because he did it 2 other times, kind of thing. So he wasn't afraid of him, but he just, once that bell rung, he just wasn't the same.
Yeah. And by the way, just to close out on Canelo, as far as the rematch with Bivol, I think he's expected to defend his title against Anthony Yarde. So we have to wait and see. And Canelo is dealing with the wrist injury. So we kind of go through a snooze fest, and then we build up a little bit of the juice. And again, everyone joining in 27 and Q with the 2-time Super Bowl champ from the Giants, Brandon Jacobs. I'm Rich Quinones. Spence Crawford. And I don't understand how, as soon as, and I text you, and I know you knew this fight was going down, as soon as the ink's not even friggin' dry and you're already calling for the prediction. Can we let it marinate a little bit? No,
we can't let it marinate. This is the fight I've been waiting for. I told my wife, I said, okay, I don't know when they're going to sign this fight, but whenever they sign it, if they sign it on the day something is going on for us, either I am going to the fight and canceling what we got, or we can go to the fight. But
foundation of a strong marriage.
yeah, absolutely. So she was like, okay, I get it. So, I mean, my kids going to UCF football game that weekend. It might be a playoff game for the high school, which I'm missing. I'm going to the fight, Rich. I'm going there. I will be there. I will spend whatever I need to spend on a ringside ticket, and I will make my prediction. I got Terrence Crawford in a total domination, dismantle.
It's September 20th.
It is September 20th. The fight is what, November 19th?
19th.
I'm going with Terrence Crawford on the win, if not the knockout.
The odds, and I pulled them up. I know right now, I'll get them in a second, but let me just say this. So first of all, it does look like I'm pretty sure they have what they call the bilateral rematch clause, right? So no matter what, a second fight between them. And I know eventually they're going to go up in weight as well. So, and I think the rematch clause, right, it'll trigger whoever won the first one. You're going to earn more. The person won. Okay. All right. So Crawford's going to be the favorite. All right. So is the favorite. I can make the argument too, like we've talked about in the past, and I can, same thing with Spence, because I know where you're going to go with this. You're talking about mostly marginal opponents, right? Since he's moved up to 147, which was 2018. So now you're talking, go ahead.
I agree there. Marginal opponents.
Okay.
He hadn't really fought anybody tough.
Yep. So
the guys he fought tough was on the end of their career, like Gamboa, guys like that. So I definitely see what you're saying there. I definitely agree with you.
Okay, and he stopped Porter, right? And Porter good, very good fighter. But again, that was last October, 10th round. Then you look at Spence, and I know where you're going to go with this. Okay, I can sit there and say, Mikey Garcia. Okay, fine, he jumped a couple weight classes. Garcia, whose best, we would agree, best weight is at 140.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Absolutely.
Brook, who basically GGG kind of ruined. And then Porter, which was a close fight. So I can make a case for and against. Man, I'll tell you, my one concern with this is the November 19th fight. I'm wondering, you would think 8 to 10 weeks, you don't want to rush to camp. As I mentioned, I believe they're both going to go up to 150, 154 eventually after the two fights. Crawford always looks to be in shape, and I think Spence is going to be in shape. I guess it's quick turnaround to me. I'm a little concerned with that. And I don't know, man. I watched that Ugas fight again, and I was texting. I was like, man, Spence is just a high pressure, high volume thrower, right? I mean, the numbers are staggering. The punches that he landed, 218, 24 jabs, 192 power shot. He's got power, man. I think you're overlooking his skill and his power. And I think maybe there's this bias towards Crawford a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering why you think Crawford would win this decisively or handedly.
Listen, I love Errol Spence, and Errol Spence is a great fighter. I've always rooted for him. Big time respect for Errol, but me being a boxing guy and making my predictions, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Errol Spence is stationary in the middle of the ring. He's stationary in the middle of the ring and not a great counterpuncher, but he's strong as hell. He take, if he catches Terrence with one of those nice blows to the body, he can stop the fight. But I just think I think he's stationary, and I think Terrence Crawford's skills is going to be too much for him. I think throughout the throughout the fight, 8-9 rounds, somewhere around there, is going to be too much because he's going to get frustrated, and I don't think Terrence is going to be in front of him like most of these other guys were. He's just a new Mike Tyson in my mind. If the guy's there for him to hit, he's going to hit him. Terrence is going to be standing there like Ugas was. He stood there and he got beat. He got beat senseless by Spence. Terrence Crawford won't play that type of game. He's going to move. He's going to jab. He's going to be in and out. He's going to use the ring. He's going to use all the space. He's going to force Errol Spence to get off his spot, which is in the middle of the ring. He's going to force him to move around. He's going to force him to do a lot of things that he never had to do in a fight. So I got Terrence Crawford. I got Terrence Crawford winning the fight.
You have it in a decision, though. You don't have it in a stoppage or knockout. That would be kind of ballsy.
Now. I'll see that. I respect Errol that much to say it's going to be.
I think you should. Listen, this is a bigger step up than when Crawford was with Top Rank.
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. Crawford's a hell of a fighter, but I also think Spence, with that strength and that power, I think he wants to prove a lot of people wrong, man. I think we talk about guys going in with chips on their shoulder. I think it's like, oh, Errol Spence, Spencer's going to get smoked, or, we're going to hear all the excuses from a couple of years ago with the accident and the eye, and no one's going to want to hear that nonsense anymore. And I'm telling you, if you see the output, and again, Ugas defensively from a technical standpoint, not the same type of cat that Crawford is. I'm not saying that, but man, I'll tell you, you fight in a phone booth with Spence, you're going to get caught.
You're going to get caught. And if Terrence Crawford fighting the phone booth with Spence, he's going to get beat as well. I just hope it don't come into the fight with this big chest pounding demeanor. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight your fight. Because he won't make it fighting this fight. Stick to what you do, bud. Stick to what you do and move around and use your jab and set your punches up. You might be able to get him out of there, but it's like, I love Errol Spence. I love everything he's done for boxing. I love the confidence the guy has. I don't think I can root for him because he likes the Cowboys. He likes the damn Cowboys. So, he need to join. He need to be a loser just like them.
I was going to say, or he has to turn around and join Big Blue. All right. We got plenty of time here. Again, 27 in queue with Brandon Jacobs, Rich Quinones. So you had to throw out the Mike Tyson. So let's just talk about that for a couple of moments. Mm-hmm. Why not, man? Because we like going back and forth. It's not even about if Tyson could, quote, defeat Fury, right? Because again, we can have that argument. We can go back to that. We can't unring the bell in that regard. But I said to you, I don't believe Tyson, he's a Hall of Famer. Okay. We can agree to that.
Mhm.
And you, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You think Mike Tyson's overrated.
Yes.
Okay. So I will say this. Is it possible that he was just ahead of his time? And hear me out. The black socks, the black shorts, the black trunks, the Pumas, the baddest man on the friggin' planet. I'm beating you before I even step in the ring. The crossover, hip hop, rap, the cultural thing, the 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 casual fans started to see this dude knocking people out left and right. And let's be honest, he really wasn't tested for the first 15, 16 fights of his career, but that's how you groom a guy. You set him in there with journeymans and gatekeepers and you knock the hell out of him. And then all of a sudden, I think his first test was really Burbick, but, and he took care of all those guys. Are you looking at the body of work and who he fought, who he beat? I mean, I just think he was a fighter that was a freak show because of the strength and the power. And it's something the sport never really saw. I don't know if it's necessarily overrated, but maybe he was overhyped as a fighter, if that makes sense.
I could see overhyped. I mean, he was coming into, he was coming on the scene like at the time, like you said, it was the 90s and, a lot of rap, hip hop stuff was coming out and he just grabbed it. They grabbed him and went with it. He was he created a lot of fans because he was always exciting to watch. Mike Tyson is going to land hard shots with both his right and left hand. He's going to stop this big person. He's going to do this. It's going to be super exciting. So he captured a lot of fans that way. But when you are a connoisseur of the sport, you understand the type of matches and the type of fighters that Mike Tyson beat, and you understand the type of fighters that Mike Tyson didn't beat. And when you look at it, one of his losses, I can probably say was bullshit. The Buster Douglas, he's on the ground looking for his mouthpiece and they count him to 10. When Buster was down on the ground forever, that's probably the only fight with a real boxer that Mike Tyson was close to winning. A real boxer. But when you start coming down to like Lennox and Evander Holyfield, like guys like that, they gave Mike problems, beat him because they're true boxers. They're not going to stand in the phone booth. Frank, big guys like Bruno, Spinks, and guys like old Larry Holmes, and guys like that. They stood there. They couldn't move. Their feet were stuck in concrete. So they couldn't dodge those punches. Guys like Evander and Lennox are movers. They counter punches. They use their jab. They use the space in the ring. That's kind of, what they are. And every time Mike Tyson had a fight like that against a guy that possesses that kind of ability, he's lost a fight. He's lost fights. Now you can always argue, that like the casual fan do, well, he was on drugs. Well, he went to jail. Well, he got this for rape. Well, Cuss died. All this other shit that they talks about. Like, I respect Mike Tyson. I love the stuff he's done. He was a very entertaining fighter. However, he's not on my list for a top fighter because of he's just not able to beat. He's just never had a chance. He's had a chance. He's never really beaten a real fighter, a real boxer.
So I remember the late great Nick Charles, who was a great commentator, told me this many, many years ago. He said, Rich, you watch a guy who is beating everyone left and right, and then all of a sudden, to kind of paraphrase, he gets knocked on his ass. See how he responds. The Douglas fight was the turning point of his career. I mean, that was it. And there's whether he never really trained hard enough. He overlooked it. That was Buster's night, right? I mean, it just happens. That's the beauty, and that's the sport of boxing. Overmatched Lennox, Holyfield. It's just not on the same level, man. Just really not on the same level. But I think it's more of a, like I said, kind of ahead of his time, man. Like, you can only, and this, right? You can only play who's on the schedule. You can only fight who is in front of you. Now, it's a different era in boxing where a lot of guys will duck and they're waiting for the paydays and they want to, if a sanctioning body is forcing you all of a sudden, look, I'm not going to take that rematch. I'm not going to take that fight. Then guess what? We're going to strip you of the belt. That's fine with me. I don't care. I do think there's an allure to him, especially now the second arc of his career. So now, even more so, the younger generation of fans, the casuals, see what he's doing. They go back and they'll watch clips and videos on YouTube and say, oh my God, this was the baddest man on the planet. I mean, you sat there, and I know he's got the respect for Fury. Fury's got the respect for him. I mean, look, if I'm Mike Tyson, if I'm fighting a guy like Tyson Fury, who's 6'9", you know what I'm doing? I'm digging the frig into the body until I dug a ditch. And that 6'9" now becomes 6'4". That's pretty much the only shot I have against a guy like Fury.
Well, that would be you can use his own words against him. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. When you catch one of those long, like one of those long jabs, one of those long right hands, you're going to think twice about going in there trying to continue to dig your ditch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Fury has always done a outstanding job by keeping guys away from him and using his height as his advantage. And Mike Tyson, in no way in hell he would ever have a chance to beat Tyson Fury. Even in his prime, he gets stopped. He gets stopped.
Well, listen, that 6'9" becomes 6'4", and then what's going to happen? I'm going to hit you with the uppercut. That's all I'm saying. It's
still going to be too far for him to reach.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's so hard to just throw these guys, and that's why they call it's great bar talk, right? It's great boxing talk, because as much as we want to see it, it'll never happen. But personally, I just still believe the most dominating era when it comes to the heavyweights, 60s and the 70s, man.
I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to say you're wrong there. That's one thing I'm not going to say. I'm not going to take that away from those guys who earned it then. I'm not going to do that. But none of those guys, none of them, look at Rich, zero of them possesses the ability, the type of skill that Tyson Fury has. None of them. Is
it the ability or the fact? I feel as you're mesmerized with the fact that this guy's 6'9".
I'm mesmerized with the fact that he's 6'9". He's an awesome counterpuncher. He has good speed, good foot movement. He uses the ring. He uses the size to his advantage. Now, he could be 6'9" and stationary, right, and want to stand right there in the box with you. But that's not him. He uses his size to his advantage, and he does it well.
I mean, that's what makes for great, the back and forth. I wish we can put those types of matchups together. I mean, that would be some. Can you imagine a Tyson fighting a Fury today and what the pay-per-view numbers would do?
It would be crazy, because Mike Tyson had crazy pay-per-view numbers back then.
That's what I'm saying, man. That Spinks fight, I'll never forget. I watched it with my father, my uncle, my cousins, and my father went up to get a beer, and he came back and he's like, "Are you friggin' shitting me?" And I think back in the day, that fight might have been $49, which was a lot.
Right? And now they're like, like 109. I saw one, then one that like 75. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
That's what I paid for a sparring session the other night.
Yeah, I would have never paid for that. I went to a little bar. Me and one of my boys, we was on our way out, and he wanted to watch the fight, and we passed by this bar and we saw the fight on the TV.
Nice.
There. So we went in there.
There you go.
And started watching the fight, and I think we caught in like the third or fourth round.
Then you saw. Well, that's pretty much. You just need to see it from the fourth round and up. Don't forget, follow Brandon on Twitter at BrandonJacobs27, Rich Quinones. All right. So as we normally do, we got a couple minutes to play with. It's time for 27 seconds with number 27. Little rapid questions. I got some good ones this week for you too, man. I think we're going to keep you entertained on this one. All right. I'm not even going to ask you this one, because I know what your answer is. So sometimes I look at the question right away and I say, I know what he's going to say. It's a Giant related question. So you know what? We take it off the board. The best 0-2 team: Cincy, the Titans, the Raiders, Atlanta, or Carolina. Now, mind you, the Titans play the Raiders this weekend.
Cincinnati, the best 0-2 team.
Is Joe Burrow overrated?
Is he overrated? I don't think Burrow's overrated. I just think they got to get going like this season. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They barely lost anybody. I think they're the best 0-2 team in the league right now.
I don't know if you saw the video of Browns owner Jimmy Haslam. He was almost hit with a bottle. So that fan's been arrested. You ever think we're going to have a time where sporting events it's going to be like glassed off or just netting, so some of this nonsense doesn't happen?
I don't think that's going to ever happen. I don't think they'll ever take that away. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of money for these arenas to spend. to be able to, corner off these places so fans can't get to these players and coaches and owners. I don't know. That's just something we're going to have to deal with because I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
Young quarterback, who you starting a franchise with? Jalen Hurts or your boy Tua?
Oh, Jalen Hurts. I got to go Jalen Hurts. He's a bigger guy. He got a strong arm.
Tough,
I got to
man.
go Hurts.
Kid can scream. It is amazing, right? All we talk about is second year, third year with these quarterbacks making the jump. Look at the jump this kid's making. Now, again, I don't want to go overreaction, but is Josh Allen the best quarterback right now in the NFL, or is he playing the best football right now? Again, we're 2 weeks in, but we also saw the body of work, what he was able to do last year. But right now,
he's playing the best football right now out of any quarterback, and he's a part of the best team. So he's going to always, his swag is going to always be different because he's playing on the best team. We got some of the best weapons around him. But I will not take anything away from him. He is playing the best out of any quarterback right now.
Ice T or Ice Cube? Ice T or Ice Cube?
Ice Cube.
No love for T?
Ice Cube.
Did you start watching City on the Hill?
We're starting tonight. My wife and I are starting tonight.
Come on, man.
We're starting tonight.
Kevin. All right, so Kevin Bacon is trending, right? You ever hear the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
No, I haven't.
Okay, wow. 6 degrees. I'm going to blow up your phone with this nonsense. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is you can basically connect Kevin Bacon to anything, like actors, and it always in 6 steps, right? So if I sit there and say, I don't know, Brian Dennehy, and Brian Dennehy was in a movie called FX with Brian Brown, who was in a movie called Cocktail with Tom Cruise, who was in a movie with, Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men, who Kevin Bacon was in the movie. So I ask you, if you actually follow Kevin Bacon's career, do you have a favorite Kevin Bacon movie?
No, I mean, it's not really a lot of actors I really follow out there like that. I like movies, right? Regardless of who's in them, they could be voiceovers, anything. I like movies, so
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, but my favorite 2 actors are Viola Davis and Denzel Washington.
I know you love Denzel. I know you said
that. Those are my favorite, my favorite people.
Better high school football movie. I switched it. I thought pro, but I didn't want to put you on the spot if you didn't see the original. If you didn't see the original North Dallas 40 in the 70s, watch it. You'll love it.
Okay, I'll watch that.
Okay. Best high school football movie. Friday Night Lights or Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans. There's so many lessons in Remember the Titans. Friday Night Lights was just a movie about football. Remember the Titans brought people together. So I'm always say that.
We are the Titans.
Yeah, I love Remember the Titans.
Did you see your former quarterback as Chad Powers on Twitter?
Yeah, that had me dying. I died 5 times. They had to shock me to wake me up after I was so tickled and laughing. I'm like, this fucking guy.
He's funny, man. Eli's
funny. But that's his personality, though. A lot of people, like, when he's playing football and he's about business, no, he's not going to show that side of him. But a guy like myself, I saw that in him all the time, every day. That's his personality. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's fun to be around. The guy, he's an awesome dude to be around, man. And I'm glad really people get an opportunity now to really see his true personality and his true self so they can stop calling me duh. That's not, that's not what he is. So this is really him.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Lastly, there are reports, or I should say speculation or buzz, that Daboll has been FaceTiming a lot of free agent wide receivers. So can there be a potential OBJ return to New York?
I wish like shit that they brought OBJ back to New York. I think Odell's a different guy. He's mature. He's matured. He has a kid now. He's been on the boat around the places, around the league, and played for some different coaches, been around some different ownership. I think I think he's ready to be in a place like New York City. I think he's ready to, I think he's ready to go play for the Giants. I think, he just had a great season last year, I think, for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
Got hurt in the Super Bowl. I thought he did great. I thought he did phenomenal. And it's really a damn shame, really, to see him not being picked up like right now. And I wish the Giants are the one to call his phone and bring bring some of that ability. He looks good. I watch him train. He looks great. He's bigger. He looks stronger. Look like he can be more durable. So, I really want the Giants to be the team that, to give him opportunity, since that other management that the Giants had drafted him. But I do think that was a great draft pick for the Giants. Whatever happened. But I think he's older and more mature now, and I think he deserves a shot.
Fair enough. All right, another week's edition of 27 Seconds with number 27. Tomorrow, we preview week 3. We'll get into. By the way, Shakur Stevenson's fighting this weekend.
Shakur Stevens is fighting it this weekend. It's gonna be a second, third round knockout. It won't even be a close fight.
He doesn't even look at the notes. He just bangs.
No
Brandon-ness.
Yeah, no, that division don't really that. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you got guys going up and down in between, 35 and 40, and then I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I see Tank and Garcia look like they finally got something in ink and gonna be ready to go in either December or January. I've seen that. I'm just looking forward to to see what's going on the rest of this year when it comes to the leather farm.
Yeah, we're going to carry over that conversation tomorrow. I actually want to get into a little MJ and LeBron with you.
That's great. I'd love to
tickle the fancy a little bit with the NBA with you. Week 3, we'll do your best bets as well. So we'll do our little gambling spot tomorrow. But as always, don't forget to follow the big man on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel as well, 27EQ. All right, man. I'm telling you, put those things away, man. They're illegal down in Atlanta. Look at those things.
Man.
Put them away.
Hey, they said here in Georgia that your guns, your car, if you got your gun in your car, it's just like being a part of your home.
Yeah.
So I decided to take the guns out the car and bring them in the house tonight.
Look now he's starting to pop them a little bit. Oh, come on, Mel.
Wow.
There we go. We end on that one. The double buy from number 27. All right, brother. I always appreciate you. Don't forget, everyone, like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, 27Q, hashtag on Twitter. We'll do it again manana. We got a lot of stuff to dive into. Always appreciate you, pal.
All right, Rich, have a good one, man.
All right. You got it. Be well.